Swami S.B.class.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Out of profound affection for Lord Krishna, the Pandavas, who were of the Kurudanis, they were overwhelmed with the thought of future separation. The Lord, however, persuaded them to return home, and he proceeded toward Dwarka with his dear companions. Kuru Jangala Panchalan Sureshena Sayamunam Brahmavartam Kurushetram Matsyan Sarasvatannata Mayu Danram Atikramya Shovira Virayo Paran Anartan Bhargavo Gach Chantavayo Manag Vibhu. Translation. O Shonaka, the Lord then proceeded towards Kuru Jangala, through Kuru Jangala, Panchala, Shurasena, and the land of the bank of the river Yamuna, Brahma Vrita, Kurukshetra, Matsya, Sarasvati, the province of the desert, and the land of scanty water. After crossing these provinces, he gradually reached the Sauravira and Abhira provinces. Then west of these, reached Dwarka at last. Report. The provinces passed over by the Lord in those days were differently named, but the direction given is sufficient to indicate that he traveled through Delhi, Punjab, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Saurashtra, Gujarat, and at last reached his home province in Dwarka. We do not gain any profit simply by researching the analogous provinces of these days up to now, but it appears that the desert of Rajasthan and the provinces of scanty water like Madhya Pradesh were present even 5,000 years ago. The theory of soil experts that the desert developed in recent years is not supported by the statements of Bhagavatam. We may leave the matter for expert geologists to research, because the changing universe has different phases of geological development. We are satisfied with the Lord that the Lord has now reached his own province, Dwarkadam, from the Kuru province. Kurukshetra continues to exist since the Vedic age. It is sheer foolishness when interpreters ignore it to deny the existence of Kurukshetra. Might as well finish the chapter. Tacha tacha atatra yai hari pratyudara anaha swayam bhaje disam pascha gavishto gam gatastada. On his journey through these provinces, he was welcomed, worshipped, and given various presentations. In the evening, in all the places, the Lord suspended his journey to perform evening rites. This was regularly observed after sunset. Purport. It is said here that the Lord observed the religious principles regularly while he was on his journey. There are certain philosophical speculations that even the Lord is under the obligation of fruitive action. But actually this is not the case. He does not depend on the action of any good or bad work. Since the Lord is absolute, everything done by him is good for everyone. But when he descends on earth, he acts for the protection of the devotees and for the annihilation of the impious non-devotees. Although he has no obligatory duty, still he does everything so that others may follow. That is the way of factual teaching. One must act properly himself and teach others the same, and teach the same to others. Otherwise, no one will accept one's blind teaching. He is himself the awarder of fruitive results. He is self-sufficient, and yet he acts according to the rulings of the revealed scriptures in order to teach us the process. If he does not do so, the common man may go wrong. But in the advanced stage, when one can understand the transcendental nature of the Lord, one does not try to imitate him. That is not possible. The Lord in human society does what is the duty of everyone, but sometimes he does something extraordinary and not to be imitated by the living being. His acts of evening prayers, as stated herein, must be followed by the living being, but it is not possible to follow his mountain lifting or dancing with the gopis. One can not imitate the sun, which can exhaust water even from a filthy place. The most powerful can do something which is all good, but our imitation of such acts will put us into endless difficulty. Therefore, in all actions, the experienced guide, the spiritual master, who is the manifested mercy of the Lord, should always be consulted, and the path of progress will be assured. Thus says the Bhaktivedanta purport of the first canto, 10th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Departure of Lord Sri Krishna to Dwarka. Jnanatimidandasya janagana salakayam Shri Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manavigave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manavistam Shapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakaramaya Dadati Saparagantikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we see the Lord leaving Hastinapur for his hometown of Dwarka. So why did he go to Dwarka in the first place? Anybody knows?
There was also one story that when there was a lot of problem in Vrindavan, Krishna had decided that we should go to Dwarka.
Where is that story from? No.
That's from Mahabharata.
The story from the Bhagavatam, it describes that Krishna was in Mathura, where he killed Kamsa.
Yeah,
and he was being attacked so many times by Jarasandha, 17 times. So he decided to shift his residence to Dwarka because it was in the water, like he was surrounded by the water, and that would be a better defense. And then they went from Mathura to Dwarka. But one thing I don't understand, how Kurukshetra is on the way from Hastinapur, Delhi, to Dwarka, because Kurukshetra is farther north.
That time, maybe they went, like traveling that way, It happens because there was no map and all things. So.
Okay, anyone else want to make some comments on this nice verse? Or you want me to just give a class?
Balaram pulled.
Huh?
See, Balaram once pulled Hastinapur, so maybe he moved it. Drag.
So he's doing his evening prayer. But that he explains in the Bhagavad Gita. Whatever a great man does, others follow. He said, if I didn't work, then no one. He doesn't have to work, but he shows by his example. Acharya teaches by example. But as Prabhupada is pointing out in the purport, we have to know when to follow and not imitate. We can say evening prayer, but we can't lift go downhill. So that requires the spiritual master to guide us, what to do, what not to do. He is acquainted with the science of Krishna. That's the idea. Whoever, Lord Chaitanya said, whoever knows the science of Krishna, he can become guru. What is that verse?
Jai Krishna Tattvavetta Sai Guru Hai. Jai Krishna Tattvavetta Sai Guru Hai. First line I forgot.
Jai Krishna Tattvavetta Sai Guru Hai. Yes, whoever knows the science of Krishna, he can become guru. So even women, like here we're reading about Nityananda's Kamsa Janavi Devi. She was also a guru. So anyone who knows the science of Krishna, they can become guru. But you can't bluff. If we don't know it, then we shouldn't take that position. But it's not so difficult. We don't have to be perfectly realized. We can direct people. In other words, there's different kinds of gurus. One is at the highest level, comes down. Someone else is at this level, pointing this way. This is the way to go. So that kind of guru is also wanted, because there may not be those who are coming from the spiritual world very frequently. They'd rather prefer to stay in the spiritual world. But sometimes they do come down, just like Krishna comes. Sometimes devotees also come. We know that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he came on the call of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his father. He asked for assistance in spreading Lord Chaitanya's movement, and Krishna sent, Lord Chaitanya sent, from his own entourage, you can say, Bhaktisiddhanta, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. You're reading that. That's his translation of Brahma Samhita. So, he was coming down. Prabhupada, we think, also like that. Although sometimes Prabhupada said, in my last life, I was a doctor. He said like this. Anyway, whatever the case, whether one is coming down or going up, once they reach perfection, then we should see that, accept them as perfect. So Srila Prabhupada is certainly perfect. So we may not be at that level, we shouldn't imitate that, but still we can do the work of Guru. Everyone is doing the work of Guru, they should be at least, by telling people about Krishna. This is the real qualification. And then telling them where they can find more about Krishna. Just like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, we direct people to come, to read Bhagavatam, read the Bhagavad Gita, so that they can understand about Krishna more and more. So this is important because nobody really knows Krishna properly. They think he was a historical person, or they think he taught yoga, like this yoga. Somebody gave me a book, this The Light of Yoga by Iyengar, what's his initials?
PDK.
Some long, 3 initials he had. Anyway, I was reading the introduction and he's talking from Bhagavad Gita, because they all come to Bhagavad Gita, all the yogis. And he's saying how, from the 6th chapter, but he doesn't give the last verse of the 6th chapter. What is the last verse? We have the Bhagavad Gita there. Where Krishna clearly says that all the yogis, the best yogi is one who worships me with devotion. So he mentions Bhakti Yoga, but he says for those who are emotional. So we have, in other words, he says the Gyanis are for those who are thoughtful, the Bhaktis are for the emotional ones, mostly women. That's how they think, because they think they're beyond Bhakti. But what does Krishna say there? Translation? My gosh, nobody can speak up. I'm the only one who can speak here. Speak up, recite the verse, the translation.
And of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion.
So we see so many yoga groups in America. Thousands, hundreds of them, millions of people are studying yoga. But yoga is all coming back from Bhagavad Gita. They all bring it back to Bhagavad Gita. But here, Krishna is clearly saying, this is the best yogi, one who worships me. But they don't understand that. They deviate. They say, no, it's not to Krishna, you have to do something to something within yourself. They think that God is within, but they don't think He's also without. But that's not very common sense. Common sense, you can see that someone had to create the world and keep it running. So that someone is not me, not some within me. I didn't do it. So okay, God may be within me, but He's also outside of me. How can we deny that? Anybody can deny that? Want to take the position of God is only within? So God is within, He's also without. So that's logical. Then how is He without? And then so Bhagavad Gita describes how He's without. And He also comes within. Anyone else want to talk? Well, I got some work to do. I really have to go back to sleep. Or you can have your little session here.
I can. Actually, I was like the people who are ignorant about the truth, and if they're doing something in their ignorance, should we blame them always for their ignorance?
Don't blame them. We have compassion for them. We want to bring them out of their ignorance. Ignorance is suffering. You do something in ignorance, you suffer. That's it. So if we have some opportunity, we should try to relieve them from this suffering. This is the move. It's difficult because they don't think they're suffering. They think they're doing fine. But we can't force them. So the best, therefore we say the best preaching is a good example. If we show in our life that we're joyful, that we're compassionate, that we're equal to everyone, that we're not greedy or lusty, then people will be inclined to be friendly with us, and then they can hear from us. So the first consideration, we should qualify ourselves. Therefore we emphasize getting up in the morning, qualify yourself. Morning is the best time. Oh, that's right, I forgot you're a yogi. I wasn't even thinking about that, because somebody gave me this book.
No, but that thing suits me perfectly well. I'm always thinking about Krishna while doing yoga.
That's good. But at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, give up all these different things I told you and just surrender to me. So surrender to Krishna means we have to do what Krishna wants. So if Krishna wants us to do yoga, we can do that. But otherwise we have to find out, it should be our determination to try to find out what Krishna wants for us to do. And then we can be rightly situated. But mostly we do what we feel like doing, right? Or we may get counsel from our mother or father or friend. But nobody's serious to think, well, what does Krishna want me to do? Nor would we have access to, well, how do I know what Krishna wants? Wouldn't that be the consideration? So what's the answer to that? Atma. And he doesn't know. What about you? You don't know either. We have to ask the ladies. They don't know what to tell you.
We can know what Krishna wants from the spiritual master and from...
So is that so difficult? Why you can't say like that? For 8 years you've been a devotee, you can't say, well, we know Krishna by the spiritual master. Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Ramprabhu was giving a nice example the other day about one question was asked, a similar question. He says that how do we know that we are doing, or Krishna is directing us, or we are getting direction from Maya? It says that when you're following the four regulative principles and chanting your rounds, then what is happening to you, or what direction you're getting is coming from a spiritual source. When you're not following, then it's most likely...
No, it's not most likely, it's positively. This is Maya's kingdom. If you're not following Krishna, you're following Maya. There's no one... That's the bluff, you know. We're practicing yoga, pushing our nose, and we're okay. But it's not so. You have to find out what Krishna wants. Then you're rightly situated. Once there was a book like that, right? Somebody wrote a book. I'm okay, you're okay. And somebody presented to Prabhupada on the morning walk. Prabhupada, the devotees with it. This Jewish theologian has written this book. I'm okay, you're okay. Prabhupada laughed. He said, no. I'm okay, you're not okay. Yeah, this is what Bhagavad Gita teaches.
Sadhu, Shastra and Guru. That's what three...
That's right. That's what three authorities.
Three authorities know what Krishna wants you to do.
That's good, yes, you can say like that. But specifically we say, by mercy of Guru, one gets Krishna. By mercy of Krishna, one gets Guru. Then by mercy of Guru, one gets Krishna. So, Guru is central. Therefore we're keeping Prabhupada in the center. We don't claim we have a monopoly. Even those who never met Prabhupada, he can also be the Guru. His books are here, his instructions are there, his tapes are there.
Ekalabhya had accepted Dronacharya, right? Guru, but without even seeing him, just by photo. And after when Dronacharya met him, he did accept him that yes, when you kept my statue and you accept me as Guru, so definitely I am Guru. So he asked the donation for the finger, that thumb, because he didn't want it. He was more better arrow shooter than the Arjun, so he didn't want him to be stronger, expert than Arjun. So he asked for his thumb.
Any other comments? So in other words, we can surrender to Guru and he may hurt us?
No, that time, it was a test for disciple, and it was a disciple had made him Guru, so It's not that he heard it, he didn't feel it.
My understanding is that he didn't ask the Guru, first of all. It's two ways.
No, that's a different matter. He didn't ask, but it's his free will. You know,
Actually, he did ask. He went to Duryodhana, and Duryodhana didn't agree. He said, Dronacharya, excuse me. Dronacharya didn't agree. He said, I'm only teaching, I've been ordered to teach the Kshatriyas, but he wasn't a Kshatriya. So he didn't agree. So he defied the order, and he worshipped the man anyway as Guru. So there's a lot of lessons there. I mean, he was very expert, but he wasn't necessarily a devotee. A devotee, if he really wants to please his Guru, then he has to find out what his Guru wants. Just like we give the example. The Guru says, bring me a glass of water. I say, oh, Guruji wants water, but milk is better, so I'll bring a glass of milk. And that's not the system. You don't speculate what you think is better. If you have to find out what he wants and do that.
Sometimes Maharaj, like the child is very good for math, so then sometimes he should get chance to work on math rather than studying on science, if he is good at math.
How does that relate to what we're talking about?
No, I'm saying just like this. Ekalavya, he was an expert. He was not born in Kshatriya family, but he had the quality of Kshatriya. Just like Karna was not decided that he was a Kshatriya child, but he got the opportunity to learn
So what's the purport?
No.
What are you telling us now? You're trying to enlighten us with what? What's the message?
I'm trying to say that maybe Ekalavya was also not wrong by learning.
But then at the end he didn't know the archery because he can't play without a thumb.
Yeah.
So what's the purpose?
I was saying maybe he got injustice.
Maybe, why maybe? Maybe you better be like him and just shut up. There's a saying like that. Abraham Lincoln used to say, better to remain silent and have people think you're a fool than open your mouth and remove all doubt. You're just going around now like a dog chasing his tail. What are we going with this? Maybe. Anybody else has some maybes? It's not, this is science. Ekalavya wasn't appreciated as a devotee. Bhaktisiddhanta wrote an article about it. We don't appreciate him as a devotee. He was expert, but he wasn't a devotee because he didn't get the mercy of his Guru. He didn't really find out what his Guru wanted. That's the purport. The purport is, he should have found out before he started worshipping him in that way and so on. We can't force the Guru to do anything. We have to come humbly and always keep ourselves humble in front of the Guru. Even Lord Chaitanya, that was his mood. He was taking the position of a disciple. But he came in front of Ishwara Puri. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ishwara Puri, because generally the sannyasis were studying the Vedanta Sutra. So he said, no, you're not qualified to study Vedanta Sutra. You just chant Hare Krishna. So that was his example. That in front of my spiritual master I should be a fool. Not really a fool, but I shouldn't think that I'm wiser than him. I can start expounding on something and then come to the point of maybe. What is maybe? What's the lesson for that? Maybe.
Maharaj, at one side we are talking about a spiritual master, and then are we considering Dronacharya to be a spiritual master or just a teacher?
Well, yeah, we can use the term in different ways.
If a person goes to a spiritual master, would he turn that person away, that I cannot teach?
He did. Why didn't he say would he? He did. That's history.
No, so that's what my question is.
Yes, he may. He may.
Was he a spiritual master or was he just a teacher? If someone comes to Prabhupada that I
saw him reject some disciples.
Okay.
Very rarely. But first there was a disciple who already came to him. He initiated them. Then two of them. Then they were causing disturbance, and Prabhupada rejected them in their presence. they were arguing with Prabhupada from Prabhupada's books. But you said in the 8th canto, Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was right there and telling them what he wanted. But they were using his books to try to defeat him. Then Prabhupada said, actually, you both of you are very advanced. You don't need a spiritual master. And this way he...
Maharaj, but can Dronacharya be considered as a spiritual master? Because spiritual master is somebody who gives knowledge about Lord.
So that's the question. It's a semantic question. Well, you want to call a teacher, but I think in the Sanskrit there's still Guru. Dronacharya was considered Guru. When Arjuna was saying, how can I fight my Guru, my teacher? So what's the word used? Guru, teacher, spiritual master. But still, we have to see what is the science that they're learning. Otherwise it just becomes the term. How it's used. What is the word used to describe, that Arjuna uses to describe Duryodhana? Excuse me, Dronacharya. Does he say, my teacher? Is that word?
Guru. Like a guru.
Yeah? Guru.
Teacher.
In this case of Ekalavya, it's like theft. He's like, it's like a theft. Like you're using the guru without his permission. It's like you're trying to take something away.
Well, anyway, let's get beyond that point. Any other points? Because there's a difference here, you're right. The spiritual master, we're supposed to eternally remain connected with him, birth after birth. But somebody teaches how something else, that won't be the same, right? So that's why we say spiritual master, because the spirit is eternal. So we remain eternally his subordinate and his assistant. What else? Did you have?
Actually, just yesterday I heard the lecture. In one of the lectures where, as you mentioned, how Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur did not appreciate Ekalavya. He was telling that, first of all, the first thing he didn't follow the order of his guru. So that itself is a disqualification. When he approached the guru and the guru said, no, you cannot learn that itself was the first disqualification.
What was the second?
And that was the main thing.
Okay, anyone else?
The other thing is like the Shiksha and Diksha Guru. Shiksha and Diksha Guru.
What about
You can
it?
have many Shiksha Gurus. You can have a Diksha, spiritual Diksha Guru also. So I don't know if Dronacharya was his. He was a Shiksha, I think he was a Shiksha Guru.
For who?
Arjuna.
But that comes to the specific subject that's being taught, like a teacher, like you said. Okay, we're finished? Then we'll read next time how Krishna enters into Dwarka. Bhagavatam ki.
Yeah.